Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Feature Friday. Let me get a face camera on here. Hello there. Hi. So, we'll get started here with tonight's tutorial here in about 2 minutes. I just want to say hello to everyone who's in the window and who's actually making some chat comments and all that stuff. Hello, Kelly. Hi, Marilyn. Hi, Leslie. So we will get, tonight is about IQ Designer, and I'll happen to be on the Meridian tonight, the Baby Lock Meridian, an embroidery only machine. It's a sister machine to the Baby Lock Altair. Let me get me a sip of coffee there, and let's see here. And there we go. And make sure all my chat windows are up and we'll get started. Oop, not that one. There's that one. There we go. Okay. Hi Sheila. Hi Jacqueline. So everybody, it's been a wonderful week. Oh my goodness, it has been a warm week, that's for sure. I don't know what part of the country y'all are in, but I'm here in north central Illinois, about 100 miles southwest of Chicagoland, and it is pretty warm and toasty and humid here in the wonderful June heat of the Midwest. Since we last talked, summer has happened. Happy summer, everybody. Oh, wonderful Sheila. And so tonight I'm continuing my series on IQ Designer. This week I happen to be on the Meridian, but what I show in this video will apply to all machines with IQ Designer, just so everyone is well aware of that. And hello Mia. Hi Donna. Alrighty. Okay, so we're going to get started, everybody. Now I'm going to swap my camera over here so that we can see the machine that I'm on. There we go. You can see my coffee cup and my close-up cam right there. Back over there, you can see right over here, this is my Altair demo machine over there. So what we're going to do, let me move my coffee out of the way. I don't want to dunk the corner of my quilt in the coffee. That would not be a good thing. Hi, Bruce. Hi, Kathy. So what I have tonight, and this is just a small quilt that I use. I make a lot of little tiny quilts like this to demo techniques on. As you can see here, I don't know, it's maybe 18 inches square or so, all in batiks. And I've done some hand work here, some hand sashiko, and this has a little bit of IQ in it. But to get started, and this is the 5x7 hoop. And for those of you that don't have the Meridian, and when I use Meridian, when it comes to embroidery, the Meridian and the Altair are sister machines, okay? Everything that I talk about with IQ on the Meridian will apply to the Altair, and for the most part will apply to the Destiny and the Solaris as well. Okay, so all that being said, I just put in my hoop and fastened it and all that fun stuff. I'm going to go to IQ Designer. Let me swap that camera one more time. Look at you a close-up screen of this so you can get a better view. So when you start to work in IQ Designer, I have the 5x7 hoop. Okay, I have the 5x7 hoop, which is right there, 5x7. The first thing you want to do is set your hoop size for the design window. Now, there's two places to do that, and even if you've went up here to that settings page, embroidery, frame, display, I have it set for 5x7 there, but guess what? That setting only applies to embroidery edit and embroidery stitch out. When we're doing something in IQ and then we're going to send it to embroidery, you have to set the size here on this screen also away from that one. So the little circle and square down here, that's the stamp and pattern icon. Touch that, and that's where you get all these shapes and stuff. But if you look right up here at the end of the top row, there's a little hoop, embroidery hoop with a plus sign. Touch that. And now select which hoop you are designing your design for in the hoop, whether it be for quilting or embroidery or whatever. You also have to pick it here. If I picked a larger hoop here, send it to embroidery, and I had the proper hoops picked in, let's say I picked a 9.5 by 14 here in IQ, and I made my design and I sent it into embroidery stitch out, but embroidery stitch out I had the 5 by 7 hoop selected. Well, guess what? You're going to get a mismatch error. Remember that thing, sometimes you get a warning window, change to the next larger hoop? A lot of times that's the reason for that. So, got that. I just want to get that out there because that's a really useful piece of information if you're ever having issues on your embroidery machine about it telling you the size of the hoop is too small. There's two places to check that. Here in IQ, right here, stamp pattern icon, the embroidery hoop, and there's all the different sizes of embroidery hoops that will fit on this machine. Okay, I've already got that selected. If, check this out, I'm in embroidery, let's say I picked something, I'm going to pick that. Well, it's 6.64 by 3.8, so that tells me I know it'll fit in a 5 by 7. So if I go here and I have my 5 by 7 selected, and I'm going to set it, now I can actually see that design fitting inside of my 5 by 7 embroiderable area. If I wanted to increase the size of that with edit and size, I could actually see how large I could make it because there's an outline there and I can't put that over the outline. Okay? So that's just something to think about when you're playing around on your machine. But we're not going to be doing that one tonight. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do, I hooped my quilt sandwich in the hoop, and you can see this is the hoop that has the coating on it. Only Altair and Meridian have these hoops because there's not a built-in camera on the machine. We use our mobile device. In my case, I used a phone. You can also use a tablet. Took a picture of it through the app. It wirelessly sent that to my machine. Now we're going to pull up that design I wirelessly sent from my phone to this. I'm going to touch IQ Designer. And you see the little leaf right up here? Let me get my pointer. I have a mouse hooked up to it also, and I'll be using that momentarily. But right here, IQ Designer. We're in IQ Designer. Now, I've already wirelessly sent a background image of my little quilt in this hoop. So to pull that up, you go into IQ Designer, tap the leaf, and right down here, see the airwaves? Tap that. And then it will pull up a list of images that you've sent. The image at the top of the list is the newest image that you've sent. And there it is. That's what's currently in my hoop. Tap on set. And here it is in the hoop. Here's my design, my 5 by 7 design. Now, for the Altair Meridian Destiny, remember if you watched last week, I was lightening and darkening this background image. And on the Solaris, that slider was up here. Well, these machines are right down here at the bottom. And if I click on the right arrow, it's going to darken it. That's true color right there. That's all the way up. And then I can click on this one and lighten it a couple. And I like to have this on the midways point. If it gets too light, it's harder to see the fabric lines, the seam lines. but there, I'm going to leave it right there. And just like all machines with IQ Designer, you don't want to outline at 100%. It will not be as accurate. There's no workaround for this or anything. This is just something you have to get used to doing if you want to quilt in the hoop using IQ Designer. So I'm going to go up to 400%, 2 taps. Okay, now I can see it really well. And on the Solaris, there was a hand here to drag around and all that stuff. Well, on Altair, Meridian, Destiny, right up here in this corner, right here, there's the image of what I can embroidery on with a box inside of it. I can touch that box and drag it and move it around to where I want, because I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do, let me go back to 100. I'm going to quilt this one block right here, this solid colored block. So I'm going to outline it, and I want to be able to get to all the 4 corners of this block. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go zoom up to 100% view, 400% view from 100. I'm going to use that slider, and I'm going to put my first point right up here. Now this is where I'm going to grab my mouse, just because it'll keep my hand out of the way of the screen, and I just like to use a mouse when I'm doing this. That's just me. You can do it whatever way you want to. So next we're going to go over here to these 4 icons right here. Right here, these 4 icons right here. That is your line properties. When you touch on the little page, when you touch this one, you can see up here it says line property. That's how you know you're in the right place. We want the point to point. It looks like a lightning bolt. Once it's highlighted in blue, you know it's been selected. And we want to select the zigzag with the red line through it. Excuse me. That turns it into a no-sew line. I'm going to outline this and then apply a decorative fill pattern on the inside of it. I don't want what I'm drawing right now to stitch out. So if you do not want something to stitch out, no-sew line, the zigzag with the line through it. And then just touch on OK. And now I'm just going to click, I'm going to use my mouse, and I'm going to do the 4 corners. Okay. There's my first one. Now I'm just going to go over here, and I'm going to drag this box so I can get to the, I'm going to work from left to right. And here's the next corner I want right here. And then I'm going to drag my box down here so I can get to the next corner. Now if each one of these squares in this was pieced, if there were, say that was a 9 patch, I'd actually be quilting by the block on this step. I'm going to go my next corner. And then I'm going to go back to the corner that I started at. Right here. And click. And now I can go back out to 100%. There we go. And next I'm going to apply my quilting fill pattern. Decorative fill pattern is what they're called. I call them my quilting patterns. To me, they're quilting patterns, okay? So I'm going to touch the settings page. These 4 icons are for region settings, okay? So if you were doing some drawing or whatever, you could change the size of the amount that is applied by playing with these squares and circles up here. But for what we're going to do, this does not matter. So all I'm going to do, this is, if you want to do a satin stitch, is that first one. This is stippling, and this is the decorative fills. We're going to touch on the decorative fill. And I do want these to stitch out, so in this case I would never touch this in this step. And then I'm going to hit the select button. And on this machine and the Altair and the Destiny and the Meridian, all three machines have the same amount. If you have a Destiny 2 with all the upgrades, you will have the same stitches and everything that I'm showing here. You have 15 different decorative fills. And I'm going to, for this one, I'm going to use, I like number 1 a lot. It's really pretty. It's kind of got like some, looks like leaves and some scroll work, and it's really pretty stitched out. So I'm going to use number 1 and click on OK. Doesn't matter what the thread color is, because this just is how it will tint the color on your screen. You can change on this for this totally does not matter. Click on OK. Now, this icon in region properties, this actually has like a little bucket, so it's called a fill bucket. All the machines have it. Highlight that, and then you're just going to touch the inside of the square that you outlined, and there it is. That's how easy it is to do. Pretty cool, right? And once I get out to where this is stitching, I will actually come back and scroll through the comments in the section and answer questions. But on this hooping, as you can see on the screen, I'll be able to do that square and then this one right up here in the corner. Now I could go ahead and do that one and have it all stitch out at the same time, but I'm just going to do it one at a time. That's just me. Anyway, so the next step would be actually to click on the next button. And down here at the bottom, you'll see 100%, angle percentage, and then this is outline off and on. On the Meridian, Destiny, and Altair, it defaults to on. I always leave this on because I like for that to stitch out. That's just me. Y'all can do it whatever way you want to. And I'm just going to do it at 100%. I'm not going to change any of these on this little sampler that I'm working on. So now I'm going to hit the preview button and click on OK. And now I'm here in the embroidery preview screen. Now here I could change the contrast, whatever. I could send it to memory. But all you really need to do here is just hit the set button and then click on OK. And I'm going to update the background image. So when you do that, it will bring that into your embroidery edit screen. Click on OK. And now we're all set to go with that one. So if I wanted to change anything, I could come up here to the edit screen and do a whole lot with that. But that's not necessary for what I'm doing on this. And in the future, we'll go over a lot more of these things when we actually get into some IQ and embroidery designing on the machine. So we're just going to tap on embroidery. I've already have my bobbin in. I have my machine. Have my bobbins already in. I have matching thread. I'm using 40 weight in the upper thread. The same matching quilting thread in my bobbin. And all I have left to do now is lower the presser foot and see how that start button turned from red to green. That means it's ready to go. And we're just going to press that button and it's going to do its thing. And it's going to do its thing. There we go. Okay. And that's how easy it is to program one of these machines to quilt in the hoop. So let me check some messaging here. Okay. Hi Chris. Hi Karen. Hi Trudy. Hi Ernestine. Hi Sandra. Okay, and let me check on my other chat window because as most of you know, I am broadcasting both to YouTube and Facebook right now. And let's see here. Hi Valerie, hi Kathy. Oh, thank you, Deborah. Wonderful, Mia, thank you. Kathy, can you use baby lock hoops for taking the photo, but then do the stitch out with other hoops? I really like the dime snap hoops. Well, Kathy, I really like those hoops as well, and I do have a video in my YouTube channel on exactly how to do that. What, in a nutshell, what you do is you hoop your quilt sandwich in the dime monster snap hoop. Now the caveat is you have to have the same size monster snap hoop as one of the hoops that came with your machine that has the coating on it. Once you have your quilt sandwich in the dime monster snap hoop, you're going to take the inner hoop that has the coating on it. See where I'm going up and down right there? And you're going to align that on top of that magnetic hoop with the quilt sandwich in it before you take the picture. The important place to make sure everything lines up is on the inside edges of both the magnetic hoop and the hoop you're going to lay on top before you take the image with the IQ positioning app. And it's really as easy as that. I do have a video on that here in my YouTube channel. I hope that helped. And it's almost done. That was only a 3-minute stitch out, that little stitch out there. Oh, it looks so pretty. We'll get a good close look at that once it's all done. Okay. Oh, wonderful, Cecilia. Yeah, I think next Friday night we're gonna do some applique next Friday night, and we'll play with all that kind of stuff as well. I love to do applique of the hoop on these machines. Okay. And believe it or not, that particular little block is now done. Let me swap my camera over so you can just really get a good look. So when you hear it sing to you, and that's what I call it, it'll say finished embroidering with a smiley face, and it says okay. Just tap on okay, and that's all done. Now, I always get the question, can you save this to use it in another block? Technically, you can, but in the real world, it is much easier and way more accurate to just go back to IQ and do another one, because you'll have to do a lot of rotating and moving to get it in. It's faster if you just go back to IQ each time. Okay, I hope that helped. Now then, let me get me a drink of my coffee here. And I'm going to move this camera over so you can see that a little bit better. You can see that up there. There we go. You can see it right here. There's what we just stitched right there. Isn't that pretty? Next, we're going to stitch out this little triangle right up here. It's entirely in my hoop. Hi, Sylvia. Okay. Let me get that set. So, since I already have this hooping in my machine, I don't have to take it out and take another photo and send it to the machine. So I'm just going to tap on the home screen and click on OK. I'm going to go back into IQ. I'm going to touch my little flower icon. I'm going to tap on the airwave icon. There's my image, my newest image, which is what I currently have in the hoop. You can preview it right here and click on set. And now I'm back into IQ. Now, I'm going to darken that up one notch. There we go. And now I have to outline this triangle right here in the corner of my little quilt. So I'm going to go back to line properties and touch on the settings page. I'm going to select my point to point and the no sew line. Don't want this, what I'm about to draw. I do not want that to stitch out. And then I'm going to click on OK. Now I'm going to go up to 400%, because if I could I put the lines on here at 100%? Absolutely I could. but when it stitches out, it'll be off a little bit because it's just not as accurate. When you're putting down these no-sew lines for quilting in the hoop, you want it to be as accurate as possible because I don't want it to go off of my seam lines. So I'm just going to tap this up from 100 to 200 to 400. This little box over here on this side of IQ Designer, this is where we can move our image around. See here? See how that's moving? I'm just going to start right here, and I'm going to make sure I have my point-to-point tapped. And now I'm going to take my mouse, keeps my hand out of your way, and I am going to go from here over to the other corner, oops, to right here. So I just went across the top of it. I'm going to come down the side to right here. And then I'm going to go up to my starting point and click on it again. And now I can go back down to 100%. There's 2, there's 100. I'm then going to go to Region Properties, touch on the Settings page. I'm going to tap my my decorative fill patterns, and then select. And now here's the funnest part of this. This is why I love these machines. Is for me, I'm a quilter, quilting in the hoop. I have 15 different designs. What do I want to put up in that corner next? So this is the fun part because you can always change it. Let's do that. I'm going to take number 10, click on OK, and OK again. Make sure my fill bucket is turned on right there. And then I'm just going to touch the inside of that triangle. That looks pretty darn good. But what if I wanted to do a different one in there? Do I have to erase this? No, it's so easy. Let's just go back to our region setting page, hit select, select a different one. Let's do number 9 this time. Click on OK, OK again. The bucket is selected, and then we'll just touch inside of that, and then it just changed it to the new pattern. Got rid of the old, put the new one in there, and that's how you can play around with it. Change the fill patterns until you get one that's just perfect for you in your quilt. Let's go to another one. Let's see here. Bum, 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 bum. I want something to contrast against that one, which is what we just did. Also close to that is that. I actually like that first one I selected, quite honestly. I'm going to use number 10 next and click on OK. And since that one is going in the corner triangle, I will probably end up putting this one in all of the 4 corners so that they kind of match. Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to select that, click on OK. Make sure our fill bucket is turned on. I'm going to touch the inside of that triangle that we outlined with the no-sew outline. Click on Next. And I'm leaving it at 100%. I'm leaving my outlines on. I'm not going to rotate it. Click on Preview and OK. And now, there it is. Click on Set and OK. Update background image, sure, why not? Even though it's the same one. Now we're in embroidery edit, and I'm just going to go to embroidery stitch out mode. You know you're in the last mode and ready to start stitching when it doesn't say embroidery on it down here in this corner any longer. If I go back, see there, now it says embroidery right here. That means I'm in embroidery edit, and this icon also says edit. If I tap on that, I have a lot of options here, but I don't need to edit anything on this. Go to embroidery, and now, there we go. all I have left to do is lower my presser foot and press the start button. And that's all there is to it. Easy peasy, lemon squeezing. And we'll let that one stitch out. The machine says right up here it's 658 stitches. It'll take 1 minute to stitch. We're going to let that stitch out, and then I'm going to re-hoop it, and we'll do some more on this one. We'll do some more quilting. Oh, you're welcome, Kathy. Yes, so just look in my YouTube channel. It's under the Hoffman Dream Panel series. It's the first or second video in that 12 video series, but I actually show you how to layer your baby lock hoop on top of a magnetic hoop to get it to line up. And that's how fast that was. Woohoo! Finished embroidery. And I'm actually going to move this hoop, undo the hoop, because I do have to reposition it and take another picture with my camera and send it to the machine. Okay, so you'll get a better look at it now, but there it is. Check it out. Oops, wrong one. Let me move my camera. There we go. Now you can get a much better look at that quilting. What I just did, I first did this one, and then this one right here was next. Isn't that nice? And while I like to leave the outlines on, that's just like stitching in the ditch. Is because I like to use the seam lines to outline with. It just makes it easier to do. Okay. So let me come right over here to this side of my machine, and I'm going to re-hoop. Let's see here. Do it like this. You may be able to see that. Open up the angle of this one a little bit. There you go. Okay. This will just take a second. And you just want to loosen it just enough to get that hoop out of there. And you don't have, when you're using IQ, you do not have to worry about getting your quilt perfectly square in that frame, because when you're using IQ, you're actually programming in where all the corners and the pieces are. So if it's not perfectly square in the hoop, you'll never, the IQ, you straighten it out in IQ is the best way I could say. Artificially straighten that out. Okay. So I just got it hooped. Now I'm going to take my phone, and I'm purposely holding it away from this so you can kind of see the steps to this. So get over here. So I'm going to pull up my IQ positioning app, which is that black one on my phone right here. That's the one I want. And I'm going to select that first one. It says photo frame for creating design under IQ Designer. Tap on that. And now it's showing me how to hold my phone over the hoop. I'm going to click on OK. I'm just going to hold this up over my hoop. Okay, and now it took the picture. There it is. And now I can click send to the machine. I tap on that. You can see it says sending, sent to IQ Designer. Click on OK. And now we're done with my mobile. You could do this on your phone or a tablet. There's apps for both Apple and Android. Okay, now we're going to insert the hoop back in. go. And then let me go back here to this little screen. Let's see, right here. Oops. There we go. And I'm going to click on OK and go back to my home screen. Click on OK. I'm going to go to IQ. And I'm going to touch the little leaf icon above where it says 100%. I'm going to tap on the airwave. I call it the airwaves icon. It's the wireless icon. And there's my new image I just took. Whatever image is at the top of that list is your newest image. And there it is. I'm just going to tap set. And that will bring that image right into IQ Designer. Easy peasy. So it looks like I can actually do one, maybe two. That one is just a little bit off right up there. So I'll be able to do one more in this hoop. And I use the 5x7 on this one simply because it's just easier to do on camera than the big one is. So I would actually, if I'd have put this in the 9.5x14, I could have actually quilted this like in 3 or 4 hoopings. Oh, wonderful, Stephanie. Okay, so here we go. And yes, Ernestine, you can do that. But really and truly, the different colors is really just for so that you can keep it separated on the screen. If you're quilting, generally speaking, you're only going to be using one color of thread. That's more important if you're like creating an embroidery design in IQ by having a bunch of different thread colors. I hope that made sense. Anyway, we're going to go back now. We're going to pull up our line properties setting page. We're going to tap on point to point and the no sew line and click on OK. And then we're going to go up to 400%. 1, 2. And I'm going to start right here at that corner. I'm going to touch that. And I'm going to go down to the next corner. I'm going to touch that. Undo. I'll do that one again. That's why I like to use the mouse. It's easy to have that off just a hair when you use a pointer. Now I'll use the mouse. I'm going to click it. I like to click it. Click right on the seam lines is where I click at. We'll go right up here. Click. One more to close it. Click. Now we'll back out to from 400% to 100%. Hi, Marcia. Hi, Martha. Hi, Cecilia. Oh, wonderful. Everybody, what we're doing right now, this is why we love our baby lock machines. This IQ Designer technique and being able to actually do what we're doing right now, you're actually quilting. You're in all 3 layers of your quilt. It's awesome. Oh my goodness. This is so much fun, and I can tell you, if you're just getting started doing this, I can tell you this is really addicting to play with this. It is you can lose a lot of time in here, but it's a good thing. So we have our box outline. Now we're going to pick quilting design for it, one of the decorative fill patterns. We're going to touch the settings page for region properties, region property, the third icon, which is decorative fills, hit select, and now the decision has to be made. Which one do I want to put there? So there's circles next to it and hand stitching, and that number 1 is right up here. So, well, let's see here. I think we're going to do number 15 in that one. I think that will look nice. We'll click on OK and OK again. Make sure that fill bucket is turned on right here. And then we're just going to touch the inside of that. Yes, that looks nice. I like. And then we're going to hit next. Not touching any of this, because once I set, if I were to change the percentage, I'd want to do that probably for every single design I put into it, so that one design's not super big and one's not super tiny. And me personally, I always leave outline on whenever I'm doing this in the hoop, simply because you will have less starts and stops with your thread and less knots on the back of your quilt. Hit preview and OK. Set and OK and OK. And there it is. And we are ready to stitch this one out right here. So we're going to hit embroidery. And then we are going to go to a wider camera angle. Bring it in a little bit. I'm going to lower my presser foot and then press the start button. And we're off. Now everybody, I'm using 40 weight Madeira quilting thread, okay? It's polyester. So I have that in a bobbin that I wound, and I have it up here on the top of my machine. Let's see here. Let's see here. Deborah, yes. So Deborah asked about the thread holder. If you let me swap this over to this camera. What I'm going to talk about is this. See the thread holder on this right here? You pull your lid off of your machine, and that comes. This one actually came with my Altair, but it also fits the Meridian. But yes, if you have a Meridian and you want this, I would highly recommend that because it is so handy. And then you can use big cones of thread. Check that out. 3,000 yards of thread on that cone, the quilting thread. Yes. Highly recommend the external spool holder stand for the Meridian for our machines. Rarely do I use small spools of thread anymore, everybody. I always buy the larger spools because it's less expensive, and it's not going to go. Trust me when I say this, it will not go to waste. Okay, so while that is stitching out, let me check some more messages. Oh, thank you, Janelle. Thank you. Oh, wonderful, Marilyn. Yeah, I love the little photo in the upper corner to move the design around with. I personally prefer it over the hand thingy. That's just what you get used to. They're all good. Hi, Betty. Oh, wonderful, Lorraine. Sheila, I think the thread stand that comes with the chorus would fit the Meridian. I'm fairly certain it would. Because I know that thread stand that I'm currently using that came with the Meridian and the Altair, I know it'll fit the Destiny. And something tells me your chorus external thread stand would probably fit on the Meridian as well. Don't force it on, but just as long as the tabs line up where you attach it to the machine, it should be just fine. whatever you do, you just never force anything in when you're going to try something like that. It should just easily and gently slide right into it. And there we go. That piece is now finished. Yes, Sheila, they do not come with the Meridian. They do come with the Altair. It came with the Altair and the Chorus, and I believe it came with the Crescendo, which is what the Chorus replaced, and the Destiny, and I think even the Elissimos had one of those, I think. Anyway, so that one's all done. Oh, that's pretty. So let's get a look at that. There we go. And there it is. This is the one we just did right here. See how fun and easy that is? It is so nice. And I was just a hair off from here, being able to have enough room to do this triangle as well. But that's in a nutshell. And you saw how easy that is, everybody. What I do recommend, regardless of which machine you own that has IQ on it, I highly, highly, highly recommend attaching a mouse to your machine. On this side of the machine, let me swap my camera. There we go. Right over here are two USB ports. There's one on top and there's one on the bottom. The bottom one actually has a picture of a mouse on it. Get the least expensive mouse you can purchase. You should not spend no more than $8 or $9 for it. And a plain Jane one. It is optical, but there's no extra fancy buttons or anything like that. The only thing you'll ever use on it is the left click button. That's the only thing you ever use on your mouse when it's plugged into your machine. The more basic it is, the better it is. This is a Logitech B100 that works perfectly. The other one that I've used on my machines, it says Amazon Basics. And that's exactly what it is. It's a basic mouse. There they are, Amazon Logitech. If you have an old computer mouse from an older computer that has a USB cord on it, it'll probably work. It must be a wired mouse. And a wireless mouse will not work on these machines. It's just not going to happen. So don't even try. I heard one person say on their Destiny there was some type of a wireless mouse. They got to work on it years ago. But no, they are not. You will just create issues if you try to use a wireless mouse. Just trust me on that. Okay. Let's see here. But yes, that's how easy it is to design a quilt and the quilting for your machine. Now with a bigger hoop, I could have actually programmed in four or five different blocks and had it put a different design in each one. And like one of the questions, you can actually program it in with different colors if you choose to. They don't all have to be the same color, and then that would prompt you on your machine for it to change the color. But personally, for the most part, when I'm quilting, I always just do it in one color throughout because that just kind of pulls it all together. And there's the word that I really try to strive for is continuity in a design. And that's one way to do it for sure. So, hello there. I'm looking right down over here at my computer monitor. If you see me do this, I'm looking at the monitor to watch the chat windows. Yeah, but that's what it's all about, everybody. And like I said, every Friday night I will be doing something with IQ and embroidery. That's where I'm at on this now. Saturdays, tomorrow at 5 p.m. Starts at 5 p.m. tomorrow night. I'm continuing my Quilts in Italy piecing. I'm doing a stone log cabin quilt, and I think I can get it finished tomorrow night. We'll see. And so tomorrow, Saturdays at 5, and I'm going to continue that series. I have 19 more quilt tops to piece out of that Cafe Facet book, Quilts in Italy. And I'll be doing that live on camera until I get all of those quilt tops made. And then on Sunday Sunday it begins at noon. 10 was just a little bit too early for me on a Sunday, okay? So what I'm doing this Sunday, last Sunday I did quilt binding, doing something totally different this Sunday, and that is how to make a bucket hat. Yes, you heard me, a bucket hat. It's a wide-brimmed hat that's great for gardening or for fishing. And I'm going to show you how to use recycled jeans to make a pretty cool looking hat. That comes Sunday at noon on my YouTube channel. So, any other questions? Oh, thank you, Sue. The Meridian is such an awesome machine. Everybody knows me. I love my baby lock machines. And boy, howdy, I have to tell you, tonight was the first time I've stitched on this Meridian. I've been so busy, but I got it all set up. I updated there was a new update out for the Meridian 1.11. There's also a new update. I don't know how new it is, but it was new for me, 1.11 for the Altair. And I got all of those updated today. And thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in and watching. Oh, wonderful, Sheila. So I've already made one. Now, I'm not going to show it tonight, but I'll show it on Sunday. So what I do when I make something, I do a mock-up. And I have really cheap flannel fabric that I do my mock-ups in. And you'll see, if you watch on Sunday or you watch the recorded version of it, you'll see why. But I always do a mock-up to make sure the pattern's going to work out before I cut up anything, what I call more expensive fabric, so to speak. So, like I said, this Sunday at noon, Central Standard Time, a bucket hat using a recycled pair of jeans. You're going to see me cut up an old pair of jeans to make this. Tomorrow night at 5 p.m. is my Quilts in Italy series. I'll be working on my stone log cabin. I've only got 8 more rounds to put around what we did last Saturday. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Those of you that haven't swapped over to my YouTube channel, I'd sure appreciate it. Make sure you hit like and subscribe to my channel on YouTube. That way you get notifications of when I post new videos. I have a lot of stuff in the works. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Have a wonderful evening. I'll see y'all tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Bye now.